series. Our second semifinal is about to get underway between Savjz and Gaara. We have KitKats waiting in the finals. Anxiously to see if we can keep up this streak of amazing luck, or whether or not he'll be taken down. A couple of interesting storylines here. Savjz, of course, is a player that has made his name through the Open, and if he gets through, he's able to qualify for the finals. It'd be great. KitKats is yet to have his first real tournament breakout performance, and what a way to make that one memorable. And also, Gaara, of course, if he gets through, then it's an all-Tempo Storm finals again.
Which I'm sure you would love to see. We had Magic Amy versus Hyped in, I believe it was 2 weeks ago.
Yes, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so that was another all-Tempo Storm final. And Gaara coming into this one, he's actually the only player to 3-0 today, and actually the only series to not go 3-2. So
yeah,
he's
everything has been super intense, and it's been a long day, but probably the most unforgettable day in all the Legendary Series so far. I mean, what a way to end the regular season. Next week, guys, we'll have some fun show matches. We'll have some small tournaments with some money on the line. It's going to be a different format as well. It doesn't count any points or seeding towards the finals, but what it will have is some great players to have for you guys.
Yeah, leading up to the LAN, which I believe is on February 13th and 14th. Every weekend up until then, we'll still have some fun events for you guys happening on stream. We won't be leaving you guys out to dry, but that LAN, of course, will be incredibly fun. So make sure you guys, of course, if you're in the area, you can stop by. If not, tune in online. But it's going to be great. Great Hearthstone.
All right, we got Mage versus Warlock, Paladin versus Mage, and then Druid versus Paladin. So a lot of things have aligned, so that way it's not going to be a mirror match. It could have been Mage, Paladin, Druid, Warlock. Keep in mind that Savjz is also playing the Fatigue Mage, and Gaara is playing the mid-range. Is it a mid-range, like Tempo Mage? I don't know. It's like a weird one with Kazan Mystic.
Yeah. Value Mage. Tempo Mage. Mid-range Mage. There's a lot of different names that you could give it. A lot of different identities that it can mold into, but this is the series, one of the series that I was looking forward to happening today if it got there, because I have a lot of respect for both of these.
I heard us screaming on chat because right now
oh,
the stream's on delay and he just got killed this side again. I messaged KitKats and I said, "How could you do that to a poor young man from the Netherlands?" And he said, "Isn't that the sickest match ever?" So.
That was okay. It's hard to put it in words. One, how unlikely that is.
I think if I were to put in the likelihood of that happening, was probably the same. It was probably around the same caliber as the Big Bang happening. Someone calculated the odds of human life being able to evolve and like succeed after an explosion. It was like 0.000007 to the end 17th or something like that.
And the thing is, it still would have been crazy, even if it just happened to KitKats like 3 times over the course of an entire tournament.
Right.
It
happened 3 times in the same series.
3 times in the same series and twice in the same game.
Yep.
Nuts.
Can't spell KitKats without KT.
You can't. That is correct. Very Dr. Nice.
Thank you. All right, Gaara. Gaara's going to start with Handlock here, and we go to Fatigue Mage. Fatigue Mage against Handlock. Well, this one can be really tough. And I know that these guys have been staying up really late. They're both European players. They could be exhausted by now.
You can actually see the exhaustion on Savjz right now. If you compare him now to how he looked in his series early in the day, he actually looks quite a bit more tired. And that can play a lot into decision making. It's hard to prepare your body for like the time frame of this tournament. Like, fix your sleep schedule. It's hard to adjust your sleep schedule enough to in preparation for this tournament, especially from a player from Europe.
Tice was robbed. I've been mentally afflicted by that series.
You have a long fatigue mage versus handlock match.
I'm going to be thinking about that match
think
for a
about
while.
it.
There's so much I wanted to say at that moment, but all I could think about was like someone needs to donate to this poor kid.
You're gonna have nightmares about like Kel'Thuzad's parachuting down into your bedroom.
Yeah. Very quick turns from Savjz to Polymorph. He's getting right down to business here.
Whoa, Cairn in handlock.
It's interesting. I guess it's for him to fight against Druid.
How does Artosis say Cairn? Karn?
Yeah, he says Karn. Don't be like that. Don't be like Artosis.
Where do you get Karn from?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. This day has been so wacky.
So he's just playing pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's not too much to think about. The only thing that you can consider is Cone of Cold and Hero Power, but
Yeah.
the stall I think is really powerful as well.
Yeah.
Doomsayer is interesting because Handlock is not obligated to play anything because they're not at 10 cards.
Could play Cairn.
Could be a patience issue too. But maybe Gaara just drops Cairn and just lets the 4/5 body die and has another 4/5 on it.
That's not the worst thing in the world. You're still going to have something on the board for next turn. Which is not something that you can usually happen. A 4/5 is one of the best case scenarios for what can be left on the board after a Doomsayer. He decides to pass.
But now this gives an opportunity for Coalight Oracle to mill a few cards.
Well, Sunfury Protectors, I'd say, is one of the best cards to have milled.
Iron Beak.
That is not, though.
Yeah.
You know, one Doomsayer is out of the way because he didn't.
Right, or just like to keep your
Echo.
hand free so that way you can silence frozen minions.
Yep.
Because most likely Cone of Cold will come out.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit
Or
earlier,
I guess
but
Blizzard.
Handlock is a very, Drax is a very important card in the Handlock versus Fatigue Mage matchup.
I don't know if Gaara's playing Draxus though.
It's possible.
It is possible. I mean, of course, every Handlock player in their mind thinks about adding it, but it's just I don't know if he specifically likes playing Draxus.
Yeah, there was a long time.
He hates Harrison Jones so much that for a long time he was playing Bloodlust and Shaman instead of Doomhammer.
It was a long time where Handlocks were actually not running Draxus. Like, it was not a card that you would rarely ever see in Handlock. Because Handlock's been around for so long, it's never, like, died out. And it's always, the core of the deck has always been very similar. Like Molten Giants, Mountain Giants, Twilight Drakes, Shadow Flames. But now maybe their Handlocks might go back to not adding it in. Fatigue Mage becomes more popular though.
Yeah.
It's almost an auto-include.
The Alex Strauss I think is really clutch though, for sure.
Is it even against Handlock? Sometimes you can get to a point where you're not activating their Molten Giants.
I guess at least you'll be able to accelerate. Like, say they don't play Draxus, you can accelerate down to 15. It's the whole point is maybe you have flexibility. It's also an 8/8 too. So.
Yeah, you can also use it on yourself as well. Like if you have Ice Block active and need to live one more turn to be able to survive Fatigue War. A lot of uses in Fatigue Mage in particular.
Yeah, for sure.
Huh. This is a tough spot.
It's okay as long as the board stays relatively small so that Cone of Cold has maximum effectiveness. You still have the explosive sheet for another 2 damage sweep.
But you also have to worry about like both those big creatures on the board right now. You're not just worried about clearing them. There's a lot of Cairn, even if you clear it, still puts a 4/5 on the board. And like if you allow the Sylvanas to steal like a Sledge Belcher or really any body at all that the mage is going to put out. It's just another thing you have to deal with.
It's tough because you don't want to be life tapping either, right?
No, because it puts you lower, and it also, I mean, you want to get closer
Fills
to
your
Molten
hand.
Giants, and it fills your hand, and it gets you closer to fatigue, which is exactly what the mage wants you to do.
I think you want to position Dr. Boom to the far left, right? So that way it plays best around Cone of Cold.
That way, no matter what, you're going to be having one of your minions able to attack. One of your big creatures able to attack, because you spread out your 5/4, your Sylvanas, your Karen, and your Dr. Boom enough.
Okay, well, far right doesn't really make too much of a marginal difference, I think. Actually, it does. It freezes the entire board, I suppose. Oh, with the big game hunter draw, though, that allows him to pretty much sweep everything and kill off Dr. Boom.
Yeah, that big game hunter off the top was a. And
Wow,
double
best
one.
effect.
Nice.
Well, to be fair, Gaara also had some really good rolls in the previous series against Amaz.
Yeah, only 3-0 of the day. That tells you a lot with how that series went down. No big threats to place. No threats really at all to place. Molten Giant's not able to be activated.
Yeah, and I think you're not really afraid of taking some damage, right? Because you want your Molten Giant to come out. Otherwise, if you stay too high health, then you're going to you're going to be having these Molten Giants that are pretty useless. I mean, it still looks like there's a healthy amount of cards in Gaara's deck, but it looks like we're going to be coming down to the final 10 pretty soon.
I think Defender of Argus might be.
Yeah, it seems reasonable. You put out a decent amount of power.
And you take it out of ping range, like trade ping.
Yeah, oh, okay. So he doesn't want him to echo Medivh, that big game hunter.
Yeah, that's smart.
Cone of Cold with Cold Light. Antique Healbot as well. Oh, he holds.
I think he wants to try and get maximum value out of that Antique Healbot.
Right. I mean, there's no pressure, like, or no need to drop something, right? Just because for the sake of it.
Yeah.
It's so hard. This deck is so unintuitive sometimes. I try to like discipline myself and like say, all right, I'm gonna learn this deck a little bit more, and I sit down, I play 2 games of it, and I'm like, screw this, I'm gonna play something else. All right, Gaara wisely tosses away Immortal Coil because he doesn't want it to fill up his hand unnecessarily.
Yeah, because he knows that he doesn't want to even use that to draw a card, because it just gets him further into his deck. Wise choice.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Molten Giant can finally come out, though, thankfully for Gaara. Savjz, in the meantime, he's got some stall mechanics, including ways to fill up the hand, too, and get Gaara down to his last few cards. Deathlord is really interesting, too, the way it interacts with all of Handlock's creatures.
Yeah.
It's like it pulls out Jiraxis, it pulls out, the Giants. It's so scary.
Yeah, especially when he's getting to the later portions of his deck.
Right.
And he hasn't seen Jiraxis yet. Like, the best time to play Jiraxis in this matchup is as soon as you can. Because a lot of times the 6/6s might even be more valuable than the 8/8s, your Molten Giants.
All right.
Can't get BGH, which sometimes Fatigue Mages can have 3, 4, 5, 6 BGHs.
So then what does Gaara do from here? If he pushes through, he summons yet another minion. Could be a Molten Giant. Or, sorry, a Mountain Giant. It also could be like a Twilight Drake. Oh no, actually both those got polymorphed, so.
No.
So does he have any other legitimate threats in his deck?
Mountain Giant and Jiraxis, I think, if he plays Jiraxis.
Okay. He could also just have Like Alex Straza instead of Draxus as well.
That's possible. We know that he burned one Sunfury Protector, played the other.
Maybe a Farseer?
Oh yeah, Farseer is possible as well.
Alright, well if you silence it, there's nothing coming out. It's fine. It's protecting his life total essentially by doing that. Echo of Medivh. So you can play a Coalite Oracle, Echo of Medivh, and play a...
Death.
Well, actually, you can Frost Nova at that point. Actually, there's a lot of plays here. Because you can set up a minion base where it has a really strong Echo.
You could Kona Cold, Coldlight Oracle.
Yeah.
And Echo of Medivh. How would you...
No, you can't.
Yeah, you would
Coalite
overdraw
Oracle.
in that situation. Ooh, okay.
Oh, I think he's gonna try to double Cold Light and then...
Double Cold Light for burst.
Yeah. Echo, maybe? Double Cold Light or Echo? Oh my god, that's crazy.
That's nuts. Cold Light Oracle essentially becomes sort of a...
Duplicate.
Like a really weird way... A really weird win condition
that's
later
really
on in
bad.
the game.
Yeah, that's really bad because now these Cold Light Oracles are almost guaranteed to go off.
Yeah. Because once you get to fatigue, a Cold Light Oracle effectively is like a nuke. The later the fatigue goes, the more bigger the
Oh,
nuke.
he has Ragnaros in this deck.
Whoa.
And Ragnaros is one of the keys to like pressure the fatigue mage significantly.
Alright, so no Jiraxis.
I think Gaara's dead. He can't really pressure Savjz enough to kill him. The only hope is that no, he doesn't have any way to actually press in. Like even if he pops the ice block, there's just so many ways for Savjz to stall and let fatigue do all the work. And even then, he's got Alex Straza to bump himself up.
Yeah. I mean,
This was very well done by Savjz.
If he echoes and Cold Light Oracles this turn, how much damage can he put out? Double Cold Light Oracles. That would be 3 plus 4, 7 plus 5, 12 plus 6, 18. He'd kill him if he did that.
Hold on. So he took his first fatigue damage just now, right? That's his first. So he'd take 2 plus 3. That's 5.
Okay, so I thought he was on his second fatigue damage.
It's 5. That's 9. So 9 plus 5, 14. He'd take his 6th point of damage, which is 20. Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
it is lethal.
He'd kill him.
I'm pretty sure it is. Because he's drawing
2
5.
plus 3. Yeah, 2
It's
plus
just 2.
5.
Just 2 factorial.
4,
right?
9.
Yeah. I think he calculates it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually a pretty interesting puzzle. Oh wait. No.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
he's dead.
okay, yeah, he's.
My hand is too full.
Yeah, really nice math counting here, but ends up being the lethal kill. And we have game 1 ending for Savjz, and that was a pretty well played game, gotta admit.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate because deck doesn't run Jiraxis.
Right.
Ragnaros, which is another
Ragnaros is
key
the second
card.
to last card.
Yeah, another key card. It was second to last, and then it got burned. And I mean, if
Well,
you had drawn it by that
The
time, it
burn
was
doesn't
too
really
late.
matter. It's just at one point when the so when the fatigue mage has you decked out and starting to take fatigue damage, and they have like 2 or 3 freezes in hand, and you have no way to guarantee to pop it, like a hunter.
Yeah.
The game's over because you
You're
can't.
dead.
Because then they just continue to bomb you. So at one point it was just like just way too much. So very cool game from Savjz, and of course this deck is very annoying to play against too. There's also like not the fact that its power level is pretty reasonable, very high up there,